And say here on the show, don't we, that our brand new Queen consort, Camilla, doesn't get exactly the very best of press. This is simply because she tries to do things under the radar, without fuss, without real recognition. You know, she does things from the goodness of her own heart. I know that may sound biased. I've met her on a number of occasions, been at many occasions where she simply reached out to people to be positive, inspiring, and more importantly, as I say, caring. It's a thing that truly matters in this 21st century world. So this particular story is really heartwarming because, as one can imagine, there's not just the senior members of the British monarchy that are simply struggling with the sad demise of our monarch. As we know, Queen Elizabeth II left us rather abruptly, although many in the media suspected that, of course, she was struggling with ill health for some months to come. So it's interesting to note, and very kind, that once again it's the Queen consort Camilla that's reached out to the younger members of the British monarchy and organised this very special but fun little treat. As ever, let me explain. Good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London, and as ever, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you also for your very kind comments about many of the recent videos. I know I often say this, but without your help, your support, we simply couldn't keep making them. And it's nice to know that many of us are on the same track, of course, with what we feel is wrong or good or right or, you know, simply daft in the world, isn't it? I mean, the newsreader that swore live on air gets to keep his job and then wonders why he's criticised by a leading government minister. You couldn't make it up, could you? But it's this story really that I wanted to share with you because, as I say, you know, grief and all sorts of things that, you know, happen when you lose such a loved one is very difficult for many people to deal with. Some people, in fact, a good friend of mine, an actress, says that she's still literally mourning the death of her late mother many, many years later. It's hard, you know. We all have that struggle. If there's one thing that unites us all in life, sadly, it's the passing of loved ones. But of course, when you're younger, it's even hard to understand. And that's the reason why the beautiful Camilla, Queen Consort, has reached out to the younger members of the British monarchy, in particular, Prince Louis. Now, as I told you recently, the picture of Prince Louis on the balcony with our wonderful late monarch really summed up everything for me about the Platinum Jubilee celebrations. He didn't care that he was stood next to the most famous woman in the world. You know, it's too loud and he didn't like it. It's popping his ears. That's kids for you, isn't it? Of course, far more in awe was the future king, although be some time away, Prince George, who just really was in awe of course, the Queen. You could see that in his face. What's interesting to note is next Thursday, this coming Thursday, the Queen Consort Camilla has organised this very special delivery of treats to Bernardo's. That's the children's home. Very, very special place indeed for many children around the world. And the reason behind this, of course, is all those wonderful gifts, Paddington bears, teddies, that so many children left as a mark of respect for the passing of the late monarch. They were duly all collected up, cleaned up, dried out, because some of them were rained on, and then now they're going to be distributed to various homes around the world. And of course, next Thursday, Queen Camilla is hosting a very special teddy bears picnic for certain collections so they can pick them up in person alongside many famous people. In fact, the daughter of the creator of Paddington Bear, Michael Bond. Now, what's interesting here, what I find nice, is that, you know, according to a very good source, as I say, and you know, we have to be kind, Prince Louis has really struggled with the death of the Queen, as has Princess Charlotte. So Camilla decided to organise some fun pictures which were placed in Paddington around various royal homes like Clarence House and of course Buckingham Palace, which I just think was a wonderful thing because obviously it cheers the children up and more importantly it lets them see that Paddington is real amongst them. Look, you know, they're children, they have to believe this thing. Let them have their childhood. I think what's nice also is that stars of the Paddington Bear movies, including the Downton Abbey star Hugh Bonneville, will be in attendance at this very special party coming up, as I say, next Thursday. So for all of those people out there in the same position who are truly struggling with grief, you have, of course, my heartfelt wishes. And of course, you know, as I often say here on the show, we are a big community. If anybody's really struggling, do reach out to someone. That's what it's all about. But I wanted to share this particular story because a lot of the magazines and newspapers have gone on the fact that it's a charitable event. The real sort of starting point for this was the fact that Camilla felt she just needed to cheer up her grandchildren. And what a wonderful thing to do. You know, when you think about it, it's a nice thing to do. And let's just hope, and I have been told that this is the case, that Prince Louis, Prince George and Princess Charlotte have thoroughly enjoyed the fact that Paddington, even for a short while, invaded their home. And let's not forget, it all started out with this, didn't it? That wonderful skit that was screened at the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, one that many people will simply never forget. Her Majesty the Queen, simply at her finest. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.